Hello everybody, this is AG here, and welcome back to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Here on day 3 of Indy 250 weekend. What a race yesterday here on the road course. Seeing Zachary Fitzwater go to victory lane for the 30th time in his career. Huge congratulations to him on that race victory in the Grand Prix of Indianapolis yesterday. And with that, he actually comes into this practice session here today, the main practice session for the Indianapolis 250, second in the championship standings, only 4 points behind Tanner Parton. By the end of the weekend, he could, in theory, be the points leader if he qualifies high enough for the Indianapolis 250. Well, we're excited to see how it goes down today, and bringing along 6 new drivers that did not practice on Wednesday, nor were in the race yesterday. We're Indy 250 only drivers joining the 30 full-time drivers here in the main practice session. Of course, the fastest driver receives a championship point towards the Haas IndyCar Series. And this practice session determines the qualifying order for tomorrow. Tomorrow, the main qualifying day for the Indianapolis 250, noon Eastern Time, right here on AG, the channel. And, of course, it'll go in reverse order of what we have today. So the slowest driver in this practice session will go out first, and we'll go all the way up to the fastest driver from today, who will go out 36th tomorrow. But on Wednesday, we went through the 30 full-time drivers in the Haas IndyCar Series and their accolades in this race from the past. Of course, 3 past winners of the Indianapolis 250 attempting in the 2025 and the 12th running of this event. Those drivers being Audra Baranowskis, Nicholas Samadio, and Angel Gutierrez. But we've got 6 other drivers who are joining us here, looking to defeat those full-timers and have an opportunity at the biggest wins of their career. In the number 17, this is the 3rd car for Dutch Atlantis Racing, and it is driven by Max Davis, who is attempting his first ever Indianapolis 250. Max Davis is one of only 5 drivers in this field who has never won a race on the channel, but 4 of those guys are drivers who are Indy 250 only drivers, and we'll get to them in just a moment. The only 2 full-timers, actually the only full-timer, who has never won a race on the channel is Brennan Wilmington. Of course, we mentioned that the other day. The other 4 of these drivers, and 2 of them making their first ever starts on the channel, they are in this field as Indy 250 only drivers. So we'll see how it ends up shaking out for them. But Max Davis has been running in the light series, so he has some experience, and he's an owner in the Wawa Cup Series, so he does have a win as an owner. Actually, he has 2 wins as an owner. Both his drivers, Isaac Nichols and Nathan Smith, winning over there. Of course, there's Nicholas Samadio again, and Nicholas is a driver, we talked about at the end of Wednesday, the all-time wins list, and I recorded that race with Caleb a couple days ago, and he recorded the Indy road course race that same night, and then he told me who won. And I recorded the practice session on Wednesday knowing that Fitzwater won that Indy road course race yesterday, and really trying to talk up Nicholas Samadio on the all-time wins list. And now Fitzwater is the second driver to get to 30. Blaine Keys now 3rd on the list, and Fitzwater has an opportunity of taking it back and tying, especially in this race if Fitzwater has a good run as we move through qualifying and then the race next week. But excited to see what Nicholas can do here in this 5 machine, as always, driving there for Grattan Autosport. And Stuart Grattan, of course, getting the win on Monday. That's something I didn't mention when we had Andrew in the booth. Getting that win on Monday at Hillside. So Stuart Grattan would love to get an Indy 250 win as an owner. I would love to see... I'd love to see so many of these guys win this race. That'd be a pretty cool combination. I shouldn't say I'd love to see a GRT car win. I really should not say that. But, I root for greatness. That's why I root for Nicholas Samadio in some situations, because he is the definition of greatness, the all-time winningest driver on the channel. Hey, let's get through to some of these Indy 250 only drivers. Introduce you to the rest of the field attempting this 12th running of the Indianapolis 250. Here's one of our true rookies. This is Emily York Watson, and no relation to Benny Watson, just for everyone's reference. Driving the number 9 there for Vision Motorsports. Almost said Team Velociter. Vision Motorsports. They're all under the GRT banner. And we'll see how well she can do. And this was a race that we saw Angel Gutierrez get the win 2 years ago as an Indy 250 only driver. Now he's coming into this race as an experienced veteran in this race, a winner of this event. And we have seen drivers who have made very seldom starts win these bigger races. It happens a lot in the Thanksgiving 500, not as much here in the Indy 250. But we'll see what Vision Motorsports has put together for Emily York-Watson in this year's running. And what a race to have your first career start. Though, I do think, I can't remember if she's in the Little 250. I haven't really mentioned too much about the Little 250 on Thursday. Next Thursday, we got that wonderful event that Nathan is putting on. A new addition to Indy 250 week here on the channel, the Little 250 at Anderson Speedway, just about an hour out of here. 250 lap race on that quarter-mile racetrack in the late models. That's going to be a lot of fun. And Benny Watson is in that race. I signed up for it because I wanted to see him run it. And I'm excited. Nathan's going to put on a great show next Thursday night. We're going to have a lot of great stuff next week, and of course a lot of great stuff this week. So I got North Wilkesboro tonight in the Wall Wall Cup Series. We're always excited for that race. And, you know, to go back to Nicholas Sambadio on that one, that's the race that he won last year, and he's gone a whole year in the Wall Wall Cup Series without a win, so we'll see if he gets it again tonight as he flies down to North Wilkesboro later on. And this is convenient. We got two of our Indy 250 only drivers right here alongside each other. Jeffrey Finguy will make his first career start in the Indy 250, first attempt at the Indy 250. He has made some starts in the past. Actually ran part of the Truck Series season at the end of last year. A couple of good runs over there in the Turkey Hill Truck Series over the fall. But driving the third car for NS Racing. NS Racing tends to always have a third car in this race. They did a couple of years ago, but they failed to qualify with Bruno Diacomo in that race. Number 96 there for NS Racing. Of course, a very solid team in the Wall Wall Cup Series. They currently lead in the Wall Wall Cup Series owners' standings. And here we go. We got Jeffrey Finguy here looking to make a name for himself and get the biggest win of his career, his first win on Saturday, next Saturday. He's got to qualify tomorrow Saturday in order to make it in. Here's Joe Alonso is back in the Indy 250, and of all the Indy 250 only drivers, this guy has easily the most experience. His sixth attempt at this Indianapolis 250, so he's got the same amount as Fitzwater does in this race. Alonso's best finish was 10 years ago. He finished 5th in this race 10 years ago. And he hasn't made a start in this race since 2021. So it's been 4 years since Alonso's attempted the Indianapolis 250 in the third car there for Tracoan Racing Enterprises and Owen Miles. And we're excited to see what Alonso can do, because this is a guy who, you know, we talk about, you know, and Andrew touched on at the end of the main practice or full-time practice session on Wednesday. This race cements your legacy, and Alonso has a great legacy on the channel. Very successful owner and very successful driver, 16 career wins on the channel. But none would be bigger than this one if he could pull it off next Saturday. And he's got an opportunity of doing so. Just as I said, all these drivers, equal ratings, all have that same opportunity going into this event at winning the biggest race on the channel. And we'll see what Alonso can do. We got to get through qualifying first, and that's the big thing when it comes to the Indianapolis 250. This will be our 7th year doing this qualifying format with single car runs, and we do single car runs for the Fast 6 in the Wall Wall Cup Series. It is so much fun, though, to see these guys go single car qualifying. It is so intense, so exciting, and you know, I mentioned on Wednesday, I'll never forget a couple of years ago when Thomas Troxel failed to get a lap in the single car runs and failed to qualify for the Indianapolis 250. And then we talked about Bruno Diacomo, who has failed to qualify the last 2 years. And yes, it's a shame that you failed to qualify for this race, but that's what makes it so special. This is the only race where it really is like that, where we have DNQs. And this will be the 7th year we've done it. And qualifying weekend is always so much fun in real life and here for us in the Indy 250 as well. And 12 o'clock noon Eastern Time tomorrow, all 36 drivers go out for a lap. And then it's the Fast 9 and the Last 9, or should I say the Last 9 and the Fast 9, because we knock them out first before we set the pole, of course, on Sunday. And that's going to be a heck of a lot of fun, seeing who has the best car. Who wins the pole? Christian Vargas has won the pole the past 2 years here in the Indianapolis 250. Where is he? Is he out? There he is. He's on the pit lane right now, getting ready to win a third pole, I'd assume. And then, of course, we're going to to see who fails to qualify on Sunday 2 days from now, and that's going to be a huge moment because it can be anyone. It can be our points leader, Tanner Carter, who retook the points lead last night in the Grand Prix of Indianapolis. Great run for him in that regard. But, of course, Zachary Fitzwater, the bigger story right there. And Fitzwater's got a shot at this championship. You know, fun fact, Zachary Fitzwater has still never won a driver's championship on the channel. He's got an opportunity at doing so in the IndyCar Series this year. And a win here in Indy, though this is not a double points race anymore. You'd still get a lot of points if you qualify top 10. We'll see. We'll see what he can do in that number 52. Got another one of our Indy 250 only drivers right here. And another driver making their first career start, though I do believe this driver is in the little 250. Going to be attempting that race next Thursday. Gustavo Samario in the number 60 for BO Racing. This is the third car for Bernardo de Oliveira's team. And excited to see what he can do. One of the two drivers making their first ever starts on the channel, though Samario is going to be in the little 250, or at least attempting the little 250 next Thursday. That's another race that'll technically have D&Qs. We'll have heat races and all that for it. That'll be a lot of fun at Anderson Speedway in just 6 days from now. We're getting into the heart of Indy 250 week. Of course, qualifying tomorrow, and last 9 Fast 9 shootouts coming up as well. One more driver we have yet to touch on in terms of the Indy 250 only drivers, and how can we forget this driver? Defending Wawa Cup Series champion, Ludovic Charette, driving for the team and essentially the car that won this race 2 years ago with Angel Gutierrez, Dog Pound Incorporated, and Ludovic Charette ran very well in this race last year and ended up finishing third to Bradley Bradshaw and eventual winner Audra Baranowskis. Ludovic, of course, is a great driver in the Wawa Cup Series, and we all know it after her championship win at Darlington last September. But she has yet to win a race in the big 2025, and what a race it would be if her first win came here in the Indy 250. Though she's got an opportunity tonight in the Brand 400, and of course a big opportunity next week, I feel like, in the Coke 600 at Charlotte for the Wawa Cup Series. So we'll see. Maybe she gets that first win before we get to the Indy 250. But of course she has to qualify her way in. And this is Ludovic Charette that we're talking about. So, you know, it's the thing. We got only 3 drivers that fail to qualify. In your mind, the odds of making the race are very, very high. But there will be 3 drivers who fail to qualify. Justin Zeidel has felt that pain before. Failed to qualify 3 years ago in 2022. And I know Justin would not want to do that. I don't want that to happen. That's my car. And Andrew joked about me rigging the races. Well, how can I rig them if I'm the one doing them? You know, we had John Anders leading in the points after Kansas. He fell to third, but hey, Caleb's the one who runs the races, and he doesn't have his team in the series anymore. He did have it last year. No Appalachian Motorsports in the Haas IndyCar series anymore, so it's not rigged. Not rigged. The ratings, you know, the ratings have definitely helped with the help reduce the rigging allegations. That's what makes this series a little bit more challenging because it's an equal rating series, and I can assure you that all these guys, and we have always done it in an equal rating series, everyone has had an equal shot. And that's very important. The competition is very important to me, and everyone having an equal opportunity of winning these races, especially in the equal rating series. That's why the ratings are done the way they are. Everyone has an equal opportunity and the equal number of points that they can assign throughout the season. There is nothing that you do outside of doing the ratings forms that changes how much of an opportunity you have at running well. It's all about the knowledge and in the rating series, but here, it's up to the NR gods on whether or not you have a good run. And we'll see how the gods feel next week in the Indy 250. We got Max Anderson here in the 99. This is a driver I really like to talk about. This is a development driver to Alexander Rowe. Alexander Rowe is him in the Sprint Series, and he's had a great run in the Light Series East as well. Alexander Rowe is a guy who's had his drivers on the channel for 8 years, but he hasn't had a shot at the Wawa Cup Series yet. Alexander Rowe has, and I want to see him in the Wawa Cup Series next year, because I tell you what, you put Alexander Rowe in the Wawa Cup Series, right? You get him at Grattan Autosport, oh, that's not what you want. And we're back at Texas if you're Duncan Ward. Thankfully, this is the practice session, but these are the kinks you got to work out. You do not want that to happen tomorrow in qualifying. That's what happened to Thomas Troxel 2 years ago, and he didn't qualify for the race. But Duncan Ward there blowing up. That right there is a big one. 9.76. Oh my. That's a huge one. That's an entire explosion right there. One thing I will say about this race, we tend to not see near as much of a reliability issue in the Indianapolis 250. And I think that's what makes this race a lot of fun. We do tend to see a couple things that might happen. I don't think it's going to be Texas level a couple weeks ago in the Wawa Cup Series because everyone just kept blowing engines. Duncan Ward from the race lead blew an engine, not to that level, but some of these guys have to think about is reliability. It is a 250-mile race, 100 laps. It is the longest race run on the channel. And reliability is a big concern for these guys in that long of a race. These guys are averaging well over 200 miles an hour around this place, and got to make sure that everything is up to speed. And all these guys have equal ratings in that reliability. I'm going to be a little transparent on how it's done here for these drivers and how we set it up for the Indianapolis 250 this year. This is a different range than how it is the rest of the season. Caleb does run a different range for his ratings. He does things a little bit differently. I've been doing this race for 11 years. I like to do this race a certain way. And as I alluded to, we're going to make sure this is a 40-lap fuel window as well on Saturday's race next Saturday. But the range and the ratings is 8,100 for aggression. We like these guys to be aggressive, and it's been up there for every single one of these Indianapolis 250s. But every other aspect is a 25-point range, 50 to 75. It's done a little bit differently than how it is in the Wawa Cup Series. You get a 20-point range over there. But it's a wide range for a reason, because we want to see some guys kind of have an advantage over others within the race. And the way this game works is that going into each of these race sessions, a random number will be assigned in between that range for each aspect. So it's going to be interesting to see who ends up having the advantage. Track position is a big key in this Indianapolis 250. That was the case last year, especially when this race went caution-free. Of course, we had fuel mileage come into effect, but Audra Baranowskis, Bradley Bradshaw, Ladovich Charette were running top 10 most of the day last year in last year's event. And qualifying up front is going to be a huge factor to how well you end up finishing after 100 laps. Of course, who knows what will happen next Saturday. We could see a lot of wrecks in this race. They could be winding up from last year. They went caution-free a year ago when Audra Baranowskis went to victory lane. You just never know. You just never know what you are going to see. Of course, last year's race was the first time the Indy 250 went caution-free. I have a feeling that's not going to be the case this year. But we will see. Come next Saturday at noon Eastern Time, May 24th. But we got to qualify first, and that's what we're going to be doing tomorrow at noon. And all these guys making sure they have as much speed as they can in their race cars. Now, the thing that makes this interesting is all these guys are running in this line. They run a lot faster when they're in the draft. And, of course, this is going to be race conditions right here. These guys going in this line, it's going to be a lot of single file. We're not going to see as much double wide, though we will see it. These guys are not going to be cycling through. You have to earn those positions as the race goes along. That's what makes it so hard. And it's difficult to work those passes. This race now plays out so similarly to how it's run in real life, where, ability to pass is there. We're not a next-gen Cup Series race on a short track, but you definitely got to work for it and you got to earn it. And we're going to be seeing racing very similar to this, where these guys are in the line and you got to wait for the right moment to make your move. And it's going to be fascinating to see how it ends up shaking out as we move along. How about this line of drivers right here? We got Logan Williams, Nicholas Samadeo, Brennan Wellington, and Ladovich Charette. Those are the Appalachia teammates in the Wawa Cup Series. I know they're excited for tonight's race. Brennan Wilmington, and this would be huge if Brennan could win this race as a driver. Very successful as an owner, of course, over in the Wawa Cup Series for Pacific Racing. But he's never won a race as a driver himself, and what a race it would be for him to get it at Indianapolis in the Indy 250. Brennan has the best finish of 23rd from last year, so he doesn't really have past success in this race, though he is driving for NS Racing, and this team, you know, I say that. NS Racing has had a D&Q the past 2 years. I'm assuming J. Knapp drove for these guys last year, and I think that he did. And Bruno Diaco is driving the third car for NS Racing in 2023, so they actually do not have a good track record. The home team, Nathan's from Indiana. I know this is a big race for him, and he wants to get a race win as an owner in the Indianapolis 250, but you gotta make sure you qualify first. Christian Vargas, this is going to be a big storyline for us tomorrow because Christian Vargas is a two-time in a row, the past 2 years, winner of the pole position for the Indianapolis 250. And this is a guy, he doesn't have much success outside of this race, but this is kind of his playground. He has been so close to winning this thing, and we talked on Wednesday about the Audra Baranowskis win a couple of years ago, and her getting that win when Jonathan King came down the pit lane. Well, Christian Vargas was second in that race, almost had a shot at it then. And Vargas was runner-up in 2023 to Angel Gutierrez. He's been the pole sitter the past 2 years, in 2023 and 2024. He always has a lot of speed, and he's returning to Dogman Incorporated for this race again as well. And not that the team really matters that much. I mean, if this is a Wall Cup Series, that would absolutely mean a lot, but hey, it's good to have some familiarity, even though it's all equal ratings, and I think that's going to make things very interesting tomorrow. I'm excited to see what Christian Vargas can do, looking for his third straight pole in the Indianapolis 250. There's Zachary Fitzwater, now a 30-time winner on the channel. What an honor for Fitzwater to finally get number 30. Second on the all-time wins list. Opportunity tonight to tie San Mateo if he can find his way to victory lane in North Wilkesboro. Opportunity, if he can qualify his way into this race, of course, to match San Mateo in the Indy 250, assuming that Nicholas does not win the night, because that's also very possible, because he won North Wilkesboro last year, driving for Appalachian Motorsports. But very excited to see what Fitzwater can do. He is currently 9th fastest, so he's going to be going a little bit later in the session tomorrow. Driving there for Trackhouse Racing and Reggie Fogelman's team. I have a good feeling for Fitzwater, especially after getting that win yesterday. That's what you want. You want the momentum. And both San Mateo and Fitzwater have kind of come into this race with some good momentum, and I'm excited to see what they can, in fact, pull off. There's Angel Gutierrez, winner of this race 2 years ago. Driving there for BK Industries. Not Burger King Industries. They're Blaine Keys Industries. Quite better than Burger King, if I do say so myself, though. Blaine might not want me to mention this, but I'm going to. Blaine Keys ran the Burger King Cup Series all the way back in the day in the NRLOA. I'm sure I'm probably the only one, other than him, that remembers that, but Blaine Keys did run that series all the way back in the day in the good old NRLOA days. The OG NRLOA, by the way. I know it's still around, but real ones remember the OG NRLOA. Blaine Keys was a part of that back in the day. That was a lot of fun. In some ways. Hey, Blaine Keys had a great time with it. Carson Miller was fastest on Wednesday. He got a bonus point for that. Aaron Abel is now fastest in the 97 machine, and that would be a bonus point towards the championship, though he's all the way back 113 behind Tanner Parton coming into the Indianapolis 250. But I know Aaron Abel would love to get a race victory for Nathan Stapleton. He's been with Nathan in the IndyCar Series past 3 seasons, and this is his team. This is his home in the Haas IndyCar Series, and great to see him still running here. Of course, the team owner in the Wall Cup Series with Racing Motorsports. And all by himself right now. That's kind of what you want. You want to make sure you have speed in the car. You get one lap here in Indianapolis. You got to wind it up correctly to get around this place, and then get the fastest time you possibly can. Just avoid being 28th or worse. That's all you need to do is just qualify top 27, and then you're on your way to racing in the Indianapolis 250. And if we're talking a guy who needs that to happen tomorrow, it's Bruno Diacomo in the 41, two-time D&Q, only driver to have failed to qualify twice for this race. And the worst part about it for Bruno is he's never actually raced in the Indianapolis 250. This is his 3rd attempt. we'll see. We're all going to be focusing on his run tomorrow. And he's going to be early the way it's looking, too. He hasn't gotten in a draft with anybody, I think. So that's part of it right there. But 34th right now, that doesn't mean a thing once we get to tomorrow. But I'll tell you what. I think there are a lot of people that are going to be rooting for him to finally make it into that Indianapolis 250. And if he qualifies 27th, he'll be happy with that. Because that means he's in the race for the first time in his career. You know what, Clifton, this is a guy, too, we talk about some of the names that we have running in this year's race, who they've been in many Indy 250s trying for Noah Clifton, Justin Zaidel, John Andrews, Max Anderson, and these are drivers, too, that have not necessarily had success over on the Cup side and on the Cup level either. Some of them have been owners, of course. John Andrews, a current owner over there in the series, but you don't hear their names in the Wall Cup. They're not the main guys over there, but they are guys who have tried to get in this Indianapolis 250. They've been around for years, some of them close to a decade, attempting to win this race. And Noah Clifton, one of those drivers there, driving for Dracona Racing Enterprises. That's a solid team in the IndyCar series. Justin Zaidel, another one of those guys, is in his 8th Indianapolis 250. John Andrews in his 8th Indianapolis 250. Noah Clifton in his 9th attempt at this race. And Ace Garcia is another one of those drivers as well. And Ace is a guy who I would like to apologize. On Monday night in the Body Armor Pro Series race, I mentioned that this is the only series that he runs in. Well, I was an idiot and didn't check to see that he's actually here in the IndyCar series as well, as he usually is. His 8th attempt at this Indianapolis 250, 7th a couple of years ago in 2022. We'll just see. We'll see what he can do there in that 27 machine. I feel like he's got a good opportunity of doing so. And I'm excited. I'm excited for these guys like Ace, like Justin, like John, like Noah, who have been in this race for many years. Max Anderson as well. Have an opportunity here today. Baranowskis is another one of those drivers who has that type of longevity, but she has won this race twice before, including last year. So she has been to the pinnacle. And then, of course, Nicholas Sambadio has them all beat. This is his 11th attempt at this race, and we'll have to see if he gets his 3rd next Saturday. And then you got Fitzwater and Alonso. They were both attempting their 6th running in this race. But it's fascinating that Fitzwater has only been in this thing 5 times in the past. This is not a race he has been a part of too much, though. He had the great battle of Trey Smith in 2022, and he actually had a great battle with Christian Master in 2015 as well, if y'all remember that one. He's come close a couple of times. Of course, he won yesterday on the road course, and he's got an opportunity here this year, as do all these drivers. Logan Williams is a past runner-up to Ethan Lewis in 2021. 2021 was the odd year for this race. Let's just put it that way. 22 was kind of the first year we went full custom, and we've been doing that ever since. So, I'm glad that we finally got a rhythm in terms of the teams and all of that in this series. This race really didn't have teams in it until 2020 when we split it up. Some custom, some real life. 2021, we just used a custom set that Matt Tuck made for one of his personal projects, and we were going to run the series, but, 2021 was 2021. Came back in 2022 with the full series, and we've been going ever since. And a lot of these teams have been around in the Haas IndyCar series since 2022, including Durrani Racing and Dog Pound Incorporated and Otter Island Motorsports. Shoe in my team there. John Andrews, not the best of runs yesterday in the Indy road course race, but 17 points behind, and one of these guys is going to have a great opportunity. Hey, Jay Knapp is a guy I like to mention as well, and as always, like the preference too, this is the one exception we make. Of course, we're going to have Murray in the booth for the Indy 250, as we always do. Absolutely love having Murray in the booth for our races, and I've known Murray longer than I've known anybody else in the NASCAR racing internet landscape. I've known him for 11 years. And been such an honor being his friend over those 11 years, and we're very thankful to have each other. I'm very thankful to have him in my life as well, and I always love to have him in the booth for this one, because we go to the Indy 500 together now, and we're going for our 4th straight year this year. It'll be a lot of fun in Indianapolis that's the place to be on Memorial Day, and I have done so for the past 3 years. It's going to be my 4th straight year. It's such a blessing, such an honor to be a part of the real-life version of this race. And I'm just very blessed to have Murray in my life as well, which is why I have him in the booth, even though he does have a driver in the race. And that's the one exception I make. Jay Knapp. He didn't even make it last year, so we'll see if that ends up being the case. But he's driving for Grattan Autosport, so you better make it. If you're in that Grattan car, you better make these races. Hey, Stuart Grattan did a great thing on Monday in the Body Armor Pro Series, winning the race as a driver and as an owner legally. He owns Grattan Autosport, and he drives for it in the Body Armor Pro Series. That's like one of the rare exceptions where you can actually pull that off and do that. Definitely exciting times. It's always exciting for GRT, and we'll see what they do in the Indianapolis 250. Closing in on the end of our main practice session. So we went through all the full-timers on Wednesday. Went through the 6 Indy 250 only drivers here today. Aaron Abel looking to be the fastest driver in the main practice session for the Indianapolis 250, the 12th running of this great race. That'll do it for our main practice session here this evening from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Aaron Abel and Herschel Alonso going to be a couple of the last guys out. We got a couple of those Indy 250 only drivers further up in the field with Alonso and Finguy. So they're going to be going out near the end. Emily York Watson, 12th quickest as an Indy 250 only driver. Gustavo Samanio, 17th overall as the Indy 250 only driver. And then a little bit further back, and Bruno Diacomo is going to be the second driver out there tomorrow. So we're going to know very quick whether or not he's got a good time or not. And that's going to be a big story tomorrow once we get to the full qualifying session. Another story, and I think it will be a story on Sunday if Fargas makes it into the Fast 9. Will he go 3 in a row for the pole? That is impressive if he can get that done. And 10 points to the pole winner. Top 10 qualifiers receive championship points in the Haas IndyCar Series. And I know guys like Tanner Parton, Zachary Fitzwater, John Anders, and Brendan Wilmington's had a great season, though he's yet to go to victory lane. They all want to get those points and have an opportunity of winning the title once we get to the end of August at Pocono Raceway, which is a similar racetrack to this. If you run well here, in theory, you should run well there, but there are no ratings in this series, though. I don't want to speak for Caleb when I say this, and I know there are some people that probably don't want this to happen, but it's looking likely that next year we might be introducing driver ratings to the Haas IndyCar Series, and that will add an entirely different layer to this race, but that's next year. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. This year it's still equal ratings, and all these guys have an equal opportunity of winning the biggest race on the channel next week. But they got to qualify their way in first. They're going to start tomorrow, noon Eastern Time, single car qualifying right here from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Avery Alford will be the first driver to go out. Everyone gets a lap. The fastest 9 go for the pole. The slowest 9 have to do it again to avoid failing to qualify. And in that last 9 shootout, the top 6 will race. The bottom 3 will fail to qualify. 33 starters for this Indianapolis 250, so we'll see who it ends up being. We'll see how it all goes down tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun. But tonight, we got a lot of fun as well at North Wilkesboro Speedway. Bringing back that same tire as well in the Brandt 400. And it's going to be a fun race for the 15th race of the season in the Wall Cup Series. Daniel Paulus Jr. got that win last weekend at Kansas. And I'm looking forward to seeing who gets it tonight in the Brandt 400 as well. You're going to catch that at 8 p.m. Eastern Time right here on AG, the channel. Some of these guys are going to hop on a plane down there to North Wilkesboro, as a matter of fact. I know who we got here. Logan Williams, Duncan Ward, and those are guys that are looking to do the double as well, though for our double's a little different. We have our Coke 600 the night before the Indy 250 here on the channel. But Logan Williams, Duncan Ward, Zachary Fitzwater, Thomas Troxel, Angel Gutierrez, Braden Perez, Ladovic Charette, Justice Idell, Nicholas Samadillo, Brad Stover, Tanner Parton, Bruno Diacomo, and Avery Alford all running the Cup Series full-time as well. Not as many guys. There are a lot of guys in the series that are not full-time in the Cup Series, so we got some owners as well, of course, but those group of guys going for the double. No one's ever done it before. We'll see. We'll see if it's possible. If Ladovic Charette wins the Indy 250, well, she's got to win the Coke 600 first, but Wojciechowski's got an opportunity of doing that because she could easily win the Indy 250, or the Coke 600, I should say, next weekend. But we got the Brand 400 tonight. See who wins that one, and we're excited to see how it all goes down. Thank you guys so much for watching once again. Congratulations to Aaron Abel for being fastest here in the main practice session. He'll be the last to go out tomorrow at noon. It is qualifying day. All 36 drivers go out to look to avoid the last 9, but look to get into the fast 9 and go for the pole for the Indianapolis. It's going to be a lot of fun tomorrow as we get these 36 drivers on the racetrack. Thank you guys so much for watching once again. We'll see you guys tonight for the Brand 400, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for Indy 250 qualifying here from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I will see you guys later.